Now let's say we have some text in our data. Right? I want to process that text. For example, let's say I have the dates in not valid date format. Right? We were discussing about that for quite some time. 2010, 2010. We are saying that this is not a valid Excel date. Right? So 15/8/2001. Then 26/1/2019/50. Whatever. So some of the dates that are there, they are typically not valid dates. Now I cannot do a month wise, year wise, weekday wise. Let's try to apply our weekday formula on this. Equal to weekday, a serial number. If I give this as a serial number, it gives me an error, because this is nowhere a serial number, because this is not a valid Excel date. Now, which means it's a text. Right? Text could be your normal ABCD kind of text also. Even this is also a text. Now, if at all some data is there in the form of text like this, and I want to convert it, probably I want to convert it into a valid Excel date. Right? So there are two mechanisms. One is again a feature based mechanism, one is a formula based mechanism. Feature based is, there is some tool which will directly break this date into three parts: day, month, year. Right? Whereas, okay, we'll first do that. So this is all of them more or less in a similar format. The first two characters will depict the date, separated by a dot, then month, separated by another dot, then the year. Now whenever we have a similar such kind of formats, like either the data is separated by something or their length is same, either of the scenarios, we can actually break the data. One single column data, we can break it into multiple columns. This is one single column data. We can break it into multiple columns by going with a tool called text to column conversion. Under the data tab, we are able to see this text to column conversion. So what I can do is, I can select this entire, let's say if the whole O column has to be translated, I'll select the whole O column. I say text to columns. Then it asks me whether I should do the cutting, do the separation based on a fixed width or a delimiter. Delimiter is, there is an identifier like dot in this case. Wherever there is a dot, you put the data into the different columns. In some cases there could be a space, let's say for the names of the people. First name, space, last name. Space could be a separator. So if there is some kind of a separator between the values, right, I can go with delimiter, because in the names case the width is not the same. Probably I have a 5-letter first name, you have 8-letter first name. So the number of letters is different, whereas in this case it's at least same. So in all these cases, wherever there is an identifier, and based on the identifier I want to segregate the data, I can use this text to conversion feature. Right? So the way it works is, I'll go with a delimiter. Next, what is my delimiter here? Dot. So I'll remove this tab By default, they have something like tab, semicolon, comma, space kind of stuff. I'll go with other and put a dot. Now you see in the preview, the cutting is happening like this. 20, so all the dates are coming. Wherever the dot is there, the data is taken into a new column. Another dot, the data after that is taken into a new column. Now, next, where do you want to paste this stuff? The destination is being shown as O1, which is overlapping on the existing itself. Probably put it as P1. So that the full date is also there, and even the breakups are also there. You see that things are broken down day, month, year. Right? The things are broken down into day, month and year. Now, if I want a valid Excel date, I can use a formula called date. Date will take day, month and year as inputs, and it will integrate to a one single date. So if I say equal to date, shift F3, it is asking for year, month and day. This is the year, this is the month and this is the day. You will get a valid Excel date. Now you try to change it to your own formats. And now you can apply weekday or any function which you want on the top of that. So if the dates are in some invalid format, you can convert them into valid Excel dates by using this kind of a feature. One, you do a text to column conversion based on some identifier, which is dot in this case. You break the data into multiple columns, right? 3 columns. Then use the date formula to typically integrate these three, because you know this is nothing but date, this is month, this is year. You integrate it into a single date by joining these three using the date formula. But the only problem with this approach is, just like the features like sort, filter and all that stuff, let's assume that the original data changes. This is not updated. If your original data is changing, the date is, these two are not connected now. Right? Which means again I have to redo that exercise. The moment, so if I am getting the data from some other location every day I have to do the same process. Cut based on dot, then use the date formula. Only then I am getting my dates to be updated. So that is where again people are resort. This is like a feature. Feature, as I said, this is a basic approach, which has to be done on a regular basis with manual remembering. Okay, I have copied the date. Then after that I have to cut it based on the text to column conversion. Then apply the date formula. It's like a manual intervention every day. Rather than that, the same effect can be coming through the usage of formulas. Formulas are like left, mid and right. There are 3 formulas. So get some left side values, leftmost some values. Get rightmost some characters on the text. Get some middle characters of the text. So we know that date is nothing but the leftmost 2 characters. Right? Leftmost 2 characters is the date in this text. So I'll simply say equal to left, shift F3. It's asking for text and number of characters. This is the text. And how many characters I want? 2 characters. leftmost, right from the leftmost end, I need 2 characters. So this is giving me 20. When I'm saying equal to left, where I'm specifying the text, which is the text, and I'm specifying 2 characters because text is, I want the leftmost 2 characters. So 20 is coming out. Now I can drag it down. 20, 20, 15 and 26. The same thing I can do with the right. Rightmost, how many characters is the year? 4 characters. Rightmost 4 characters is my year. So I'll simply use equal to right, shift F3. My text is this one, 4 characters. Within this text, 4 characters is my year. 2010. Drag it down. The years are coming out. Then mid is anything that is not starting from extreme left or extreme right. Right? So you have to specify from where to start and how many characters from there. So mid takes one more extra value because mid is not from the extremes. Anything not from the extremes is mid. So so again if I go with this, again it is asking for the text. This is the text. Start number. From which character it has to start? 4th character. 20.10.2010. 20.1. 4th character. So 4th character is the starting point. And how many characters? 2. 4 and 5. 2 characters are required. So it gives me this 10. Now you use the date formula to integrate these 3. Date, year, this is the year, this is the month, this is the date. You are getting the date. Probably you create it to your own format. Both are looking more or less the same. But the only difference now is you change the value. The date is also updated. Whereas in a feature base, that dynamic updating does not happen. The dynamic updating does not happen in a feature base, whereas in a formula base, the dynamic updation comes up. So you have to really look at where I can use which kind of formula. Right? Sometimes if I'm not that heavy on daily cutting this process and all that, probably text to column conversion is more appropriate. Only if I have to do this process once in a month. Right? Then probably one time just do a cutting and everything is taken care of. But if I have to do it every day, then better save time on it. So we have to really see whether for our application. But if our objective is like more dynamic, without human intervention, the moment the input comes, the output has to be there. If that is the case, a formula based route is the only solution. Right? Probably, so that's where the basic to an advanced will differ. If we are saying, no, I'll sit on it. There are times in some of my consulting assignments, for some of the companies, their work got reduced by 90% with what they are doing with Excel currently. With a modified approach of using formulas base, their work has come down by 90%. The time which they take to typically complete the same task. So that much of effectiveness can be brought in by using Excel more and more effectively. Right? Now, So apart from this left, mid, right and all that, sometimes I may be more interested in, probably let me go back to the date of birth stuff. We have actually done one calculation regarding the age, right? Yeah, this. Till now, this age has been in three different cells. But I want to put it into one single cell, probably with a mention saying 3 years, 11 months, 24 days old, something like that. So from the cells, I am getting only three information: 3, 11, 24. To that, I am adding some masala in terms of years, months, some kind of my own text. Especially when I want to combine multiple cells into one single cell. Like one single cell into multiple cells, we did that text to column conversion. But if I want multiple cells into one single cell, probably joined by some text of our own also. Again, that's optional. If I want multiple cells to be combined into one single cell, the way the formula that is used for that purpose is concatenate. You can join multiple cells into one single cell. Now let's see the usage of that. So here the example which I am taking is those three cells make it into one single cell, probably joined by some text like this. After 3 put some years, after 11 whatever is the months, put some months. So that kind of dynamicness you bring it. Okay, I'll do shift F3. So it asks us to enter as many texts as possible. Text 1, text 2, text 3, it keeps growing. So because first I need 3. 3 is coming from this location. So I'll select 3. Because whatever is there now, it becomes 23. It will display 23 years. So that's where instead of writing 3, I am pulling it from that location. Then I'll write years. Because that's my own text. See, there are some, this is like cell pulled value. Value pulled from some cell. The next one is my own text. Again, there is a value pulled from some cell. This is 11. Pulled from some cell. Then again there is my own text. Months. Again there is a value pulled from a cell. Then again I will write my own text. Days old. Now you update it. You are seeing 3 years, 11 months, 24 days old. Now, if you see, oh, things are not having spaces and all that, what you can do is you can very well edit the formula, create your own spaces. In your own text, wherever you are writing, just create one space before and after. In one text which you are creating, in every text, create one space before and after. Now test it out. 3 years, 11 months, 24 days old. Now probably change the date of birth to just check it out. "65 years, 3 months, 3 days old." So multiple cells can very well be combined like this into one single cell using this concatenate as a function. So text wise I can do even that kind of an activity. Now couple of other things as far as text is concerned is, let's say I have my name written. I want to convert it into all caps. I can simply use upper equal to upper, shift F3. just put this original text. It will convert everything into all caps. The same thing into lower, equal to lower, shift F3, you give the input. Everything is converted into small caps. Or if you want initial capitals, that is a proper case. So you use equal to proper. Proper will convert it only with initial capital letters. Shift F3, only the initial capital letters will be there. Rest all will be created with small. So these again are minor kind of formulas with respect to the text. And sometimes, yeah, if I have to search, right, let's say I have in all these, I want to search where is the letter G present in. Is the letter G first of all present in these names or not? Then, if at all it is present, tell me at which character it is present. That's my question. Right? In which of these characters, or where is the letter G present in all these names? If it is present, where is it present? That is the question. So, which means it's like I am doing a search of some character or a set of characters, character or a string, I am searching in a text. Right? For that purpose, we use a formula called search. What search does is, it will search for a character or a string in a particular location, in a particular text, and if it is found, it will give me a location. Okay, third character, fourth character, something like that. So if we see this, equal to search, shift F3, I want to find a text called G. Within the text, this one. And I'll start right from the beginning. First character. Right from the first character, you start the search, or even if you ignore it, it doesn't matter. It starts from the beginning. Now, this says fourth character contains a G. Now you drag it down. These two are giving hash values because they don't have G. It's not able to search, which means this formula can give a value error. If there are two G's directly, it will not give the positions. Then, okay, the algorithm which you can use for identifying how, the next question will go as, identify how many G's are there. No direct solution for that as far as Excel goes. But the workaround solution is, okay, we'll address that question only. We'll take up that question, how many G's are there in each of the data. But that's not a straightforward solution, but it's a solution. Okay, so this is the search part. Because there is a scope for hash value, we have to try writing if is error. In the formula, we should write if is error, this entire thing in bracket. Probably, so which means here, just to repeat this part, if is error, put this entire thing in bracket. Probably no G is present, something like that. Else, just display this part. Now let's drag it. Instead of hash value, at least we are getting a better error message. Now, The other formula which can help me before I go with that query of how many G's are there in the data, the other formula that will help me to go there is finding the length of the string. How many characters are there? So I simply use equal to len and give this as the input. So this says the total length is 7 characters. Total length is 7 characters, 8 characters, 3 characters and 3 characters, something like this. Now, one more thing which will help me in terms of assessing what query he has asked for is, there is one more formula called substitute, which is more like substitute some character with some other character or some string with some other string. Now to address the question of how many G's are there, the typical logic which I use generally is find the length of the entire string, which let's say for the first one there is 7. Now I'll do a substitution saying wherever there is G, replace it with a blank. Not space, blank. So SADGGRE will become SADRE. Now I will find the length of that, which is only 5 characters. I will do a subtraction between the two and say these many G's are present. So the substitute typical, so it's not one direct route. Probably I am using 4 or 5 formulas, but my objective is attain. So that's the reason why I keep talking of this is a building blocks. The way I try to use those building blocks typically depends on my logic. So my logic and analysis is more important than the usage of formula. Formulas are the same set of basic formulas, but my business logic has to be more clear, and how I am manipulating that statement is more and more essential for us. Okay, now again going back. So in this text, what is my old text? G is the old text, and new text is blank, just a simple space, I mean not space, blank, which is like two double quotes. That's it. It becomes SADRE. Try dragging them down. Now you use the len again on the new data. Then you can talk of number of G's. Two G's here. 22100, something like this. So you are really getting the total number of G's in each of the data, and probably if you want to change it also, you are clearly getting how many G's are there in the data. So there is no straightforward way for all these things, because Excel typically, I mean, it cannot address a business solution directly, right? Probably this could be a simple solution itself. But so for these purposes, okay, if I am doing this exercise repeatedly, what a person will do is he will write a small macro to create this as his own formula. So probably once he writes that as his own formula, he will simply use it as equal to, just like we are using search length and all, number of characters or something will be the name of the formula. He'll create one such formula where which will directly pull out, okay, from this text. So what is your text? What is the character you want to pull? These will be the two inputs. It directly gives 7, 6, something like that. The logic he'll use to write in that macro is exactly the same logic. but it will pull and give the output, right? So these are the various text functions that are really helpful in performing various kinds of text based analysis.